Been looking at anything else you haven't liked?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put of hatred. Detest pushes the cobwebs out of his eyes, pushes the melancholy aside. He relishes it.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house, stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries.
He points inland.
Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that Social Democratic Union and the farce of a Social Democrat who runs it.
Mr. Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
I'll just let him talk.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals, like those boom-boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
He keeps shaking his head with sorrow for the sight he missed. Nod.
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Coyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
I'm gonna say nothing to that.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead.
Just nod.
We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores...
What follows is ominous mumbling. You cannot make out a single word.
The disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter. What was that about? Steroids? It piqued your interest.
Thank you, physical instrument.
There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people. Might be worth investigating.
Disco whores?
Whores.
Is all he says. Even that word has to be pushed through his teeth with great force. The rage seethes too hard. And the racists on the gates pumped full of steroids?
Yes, steroids. A racist on steroids.
You mean Measured, right? What is your opinion on him?
What is my opinion? You think the rich man has an opinion on this idiocy? Is the rich man on the radio telling you his opinion? No. The rich man's looking at real estate and fiddling his kids, wading through the corpses.
Ha, yes, but he was there. Why was he there if you can't have an opinion?
By the way, I have internalized his Weltanschauung. Then why was he there? You're right. I too am a level-headed moral person, unaffected by Measurehead. I, for one, do have an opinion on Measurehead that people need to hear, and it's not positive. Did you notice that he's not point towards the general area of your face? I have internalized this Weltanschauung.
Oh, I'm sure you have all internalized your fair share of racism at the RCM. You don't have to tell me. It shows. Can't stop talking about some kind of head-measuring man.
Folterschlang.
He whispers to himself, Weltanschauung, worldview. Then why was he there?
Scratching away at the race question. You moral intern monkeys keep the conversation going on Channel 4, helping the rich man conduct his swindle with this inanity. You think the rich man cares about your little race games? He rules the whole world, and he laughs at your moral soliloquies.
He stares into the dead embers. There was something about the statue on the roundabout and syphilis?
Syphilis is a disease Philip III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination.
Abomination?
The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
He breathes in with a wheeze of hatred.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues, too. Hundreds of them.
But it's still there.
What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why?
Because you forgot to take it down, because the king is holy and his statues are indestructible. Say, because the king is holy but his statues are indestructible, but mean it ironically. Because cynical advertising yuppies erected a deconstructed version of him, or I don't know. Let's go with the second one here.
The king
Ouch.
was a congenitally deformed adulterer. The party had his monuments detonated with plastic explosives. That one was especially destructible.
He points towards the city.
Until some advertising cockroaches used their accumulated capital to erect a new, ironic version of it. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity.
Wait, the bullet hole in Philippe's heart. The statue had been shot. That was him.
It was you. You shot the statue. There was a bullet hole in his heart.
I did. A needless, sentimental gesture. I should have spared the bullet for a deformed monster of liberal capitalism. Shameful, really.
That's it for the statue then. Tell me, Mr. Dross.
The fat union man let them put it there. Corrupt as he is. Probably got a fat check for it too. Shared with the law.
Accusations of corruption. Push them aside with a sharp change of topic, officer. Put the heat on him. He keeps having opinions about the union's leadership.
You mentioned the union is social democratic and Mr. Clare a farce of a social democrat.
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
Who's a disappointment? Everard Clare?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Edgar.
You mean Edgar, Everard's brother?
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that.
He's been sweet-talked by this Edgar. They must have met in person for such animosity to have developed.
We're not the first people you've met from the city, are we?
You can't live alone.
He's stopped poking at the ash now, just shakes his head.
Don't go straight for the kill. Exhaust everything else first. Soften him up.
Have you approached them?
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains.
He points to the path leading to the tower.
Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left, wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
What did you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzov. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzov. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here?
Let me be here? The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Mr. Dross, did you kill the Grenelle mercenary for the Clares to incite a riot?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for him before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
He coughs.
Okay, he didn't do the hang the man for them. But he's insinuating something.
Okay. We have some points. We need logic. There we go. Accept the changes. 72 now. Let's give it a shot. Come on.
Oh no, the connection doesn't come to you on such a pivotal moment.
What a shame.
Dumbo, do something. You can't zone out now. This isn't Doodaloo dance time. Slap yourself in the head again. Jumpstart it.
Wait, it was about him meeting Edgar and a deal.
By God, we are on the edge, in the very end, and you can't even remember what you're trying to connect, can you? While the murder suspect stares at you with contempt.
Something with the union boss punch yourself in the head.
The kid watches you beat yourself in the head again. The second time in this interview.
So, Colonel doesn't understand what's going on here. Get a hold of it, Detective Dick. Let's move on, okay?
Get a hold of yourself. This is just one little thing. You still have everything else. Go on. Finish the interrogation.
Okay. So since I might not actually do this with Kim around, because that would be a good cop thing, it is essentially the former head of the union, what was her name? The one that disappeared because she left a casserole in the oven. He insinuates but doesn't entirely confess to shooting her and her falling into the water and disappearing forever. He doesn't outright confess that he did it, but he insinuates it. That's what you get out of that skill check. So, yeah. Shame we didn't get it here, but what can you do? By the cock parading in his colorful uniform, you mean Rene?
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June.
I don't know why, but the line, "that is not a working class game, I don't care what they say on Radio June," sometimes just pops up in my head and repeats and repeats and repeats on loop for like minutes at a time. It's just like if you get, I think I've mentioned this before about some lines in this game, but like if you get a song stuck in your head, but it's just the voice line when he says that, and it just gets stuck in my head for some reason.
Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor.
I'm just gonna nod.
I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
With his shaky finger, he points the city toward the crater near the plaza where a lonely pine tree stands.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston. Alone.
There's no one there.
Fat and plump. Like a pheasant. Just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross. Shoot me.
He whispers with such predatory hunger. It borders on longing.
You'd like to kill him?
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bomb melt in my mouth.
If Rene was still alive, I wondered, like, and heard about this. Like, if we, for example, if Rene was still alive, we heard this, went back and told him about that, I wonder what that would do to your mind, knowing that someone stared at you for years and years and years with a loaded gun and playing with the trigger. That, honestly, if I found out about something like that, that would mess with my head. Like, holy shit. That must be terrifying. I'd become real paranoid after finding out something like that.
A treat. Better served for later. He's a pleasure
Oh.
delayer.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, Rene. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel
He lets out a wistful sigh.
better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
Hearing it may destabilize him. You sure you've gotten everything from him?
I think so. All we have to do is analyze his posture and make the arrest. Rene is dead. He died of old age a couple of days ago.
No,
Yes.
I waited too long. I waited too long and now he's dead?
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
You had 1,000 chances to kill him.
And I blew them all. What does it matter now? He's gone. Ancient dust.
He reminded him of himself. The same hatred. The same. You try to think of something else, but no. It's just hatred.
You cared about him?
All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. And now, God damn this world.
I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
The old communard says, staring at the ground, seemingly to the island you're on. Are you okay, Mr. Dross, to go on?
You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love, To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
I'm glad we talked about this. Now,
Glad we talked about what?
okay, composure, legendary. We can try it now. Now, you know what? We should take more speed for that. And also drink another beer, I think. Yeah, let's go with a beer and some speed. I don't think we need the cigarettes right now. Let's drink that. The speed bottle. There we go. You know what? Actually, screw it. Let's recharge all of them. Because why not? We don't really need to save them, do we? There we go. Put that on. Of course, it does lower our stats. There we go. Now just missing the pyro. And that. Wonderful. Okay.
The old man stares despondently at the logs. It's like he's forgotten you're there.
Let's assess his body language.
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild.
He's surprisingly okay.
Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated.
Animated by what?
It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads, as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system. Great leaps of emotion, from anger to grief, despair.
Wouldn't a foul temper be a byproduct of his life?
Perhaps, but his seems more than that. The inner turmoil takes unexpected turns, as if forced on him in a way. In summary, you sense some underlying neurological disorder.
Dementia?
You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even, not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
Mr. Dross, are you on some kind of psychoactive substance?
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
How about pyrrolidon?
I don't know what that is.
He shakes his head. Are you on amphetamines?
Like some kind of decadent rock star.
He doesn't dignify it with more of an answer. Mr. Dross, are you okay? How is your memory?
No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course.
And this Deserter's voice actor is so fantastic. I'm so glad they got him for the final cut. I've seen like a comparison between voices of the original release and the final cut, and the Deserter is so much better now. Like, such a great voice.
Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled.
Okay, Josef Lilianovic Dross, you're under arrest for the murder of the Crenel colonel here in Martinez.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
This terror, the sum of all the uncontrollable movements and mood swings he's been exhibiting. The wind picks up. The silence on the water is broken all around you. Little shivers of waves appear.
Your wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officer on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. He looks around, confused. You will be provided legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days.
Do you understand?
Do you understand, sir?
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes full of terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
We don't need your permission. We do need to talk about that boat, though. How are we gonna take him?
Wait, perception, hearing. +1 for Colder Mamadakwa. 83%. No, you know what? Well, no, I actually know that. Yeah, let's just roll. Let's just roll.